Hi there, Alex here. Just a quick summary of what you're going to see in this video. This is a pre-recorded live stream and I just edited a few things so you don't have to watch the whole thing and you can just watch like the shorter version. But here we are. Let's watch it. In this video, we did the API design or API specification for our API. We finished that, we tested it, we published to Exchange, and we started creating the implementation using API Kit. That is some MuleSoft product that you will see how that works, because it helps us to get all of the API specification and start creating code instead of having to do everything from scratch. MuleSoft does this for you, including error handling and some logging and some stuff that you will see at the end of this video. I hope you enjoy it and let's watch. The homework was to create the resources for writers, categories, and comments. I added the solution to the repo before this session. And here is my whole solution if you want to read it and go through it. I'm gonna do a quick summary. Here are the requirements if you want to see them. First of all, I didn't continue using this when I started kind of checking all the resources and everything, because you kind of have to go, I don't know, for responses, click on add and so on. I kind of just wanted to copy and paste stuff. So I ended up just going to Design Center and creating a new one. I created the Maxine's blog API. I didn't want to remove the other one just in case we needed to check something from there, but I ended up creating a new one. You can continue using the UI if you feel better with that. This is just my personal preference. And also because I kind of created, for example, this folder with the different data types that are here. I'm going to show you how if you want to do that later. And I ended up with this RAML, which looks, I didn't feel better with the visual. Oh, perfect. All right, so yeah, I ended up just doing this because I think it looks easier. And then as I said, you can just copy and paste and do different stuff. You can also use traits and other kinds of things. Yeah, these are the endpoints. I ended up creating articles, article ID, and then articles ID comments, and then articles ID comments ID. And finally, I created writers, writer ID, and categories. I didn't create category ID, and I'm gonna explain why. But this is the basically API specification that I ended up with. You can do whatever you want. There are different ways to design your API spec. It doesn't have to be my way. So here are the stuff that I ended up doing. First of all, with the article data type, I changed. We previously had writer ID as a number. I changed it to be just writer. So let me show you. If I go here to article, where was it? Yeah, articles get. Yeah. So here, instead of having writer ID, I actually have the whole writer. So writer ID, name, and bio. So everything is gonna be there. Same thing with category ID. I actually changed the category to be just a string instead of it being its own data type. So that is why we don't have the category data type here. I ended up just making it a string. So this is kind of going to be like if everything is going to be saved in an array of strings, and then like each string has to be unique. If there's something different, then it's going to become another category, kind of a deal. So it's going to matter the spelling, the lowercase, the uppercase, and so on. Then the writer data type, I removed articles. So here in the writer data type, we used to have here the article property, and I removed it because then I would end up having like, since I moved the whole writer thing into the article data type, then I would have like article, writer, article, writer, article, and so on. So I just removed the article from writer, and then if you want to find out what articles a writer has written, then you will have to create a query parameter or something. In my case, I'm just not doing that. I think I have the article, and the article will have each writer, not the other way around. I removed the category data type because I just created a string with it. The comment data type, I removed article ID. So if I go to comment, I just have ID, content, and author. I don't have the article listed to the comment anymore. But if I go to the article data type, then it's gonna have different comments. So for example, here I have writer, array, comments is an array. And then this is an array of different comments. So all of the comments will be under an article instead of being on its own. I created the new API specification. I created a types folder with the data types just because I didn't want to have all of the data types listed in the main RAML. I did this. So types, colon, and then inside here, you can just write the name of the type and link it to the file that has it. In this case, everything is under types, and then error.raml, comment.raml, and so on. So to create it, you basically just go here, create new folder, create the types folder, and inside the types folder here, you can just click on it and create a new file. But when you create a new file, make sure here that you select a data type for this specific case, because we will be creating a data type. We are not creating a specification. We are not creating a resource. We are not creating a library. We are creating just one data type. So do that, click on create. You can change the file name and you end up with these. So for example, here in article, or maybe comment, we have comment.raml. And as you can see here, this says data type. It doesn't say specification or resource, it says data type. And now we can just list the properties that we had before. The ID, an example is 1, the type is going to be number, and the format is going to be int. Then we have the content, like this one. Example, hey, this was a nice post, type string. And then author, Alex Martinez, type string. This is just going to be the name, and that's it. So you do that with all of them. We have error, we have writer, and we have article, which has more stuff. And as you can see here, for example, in article, that we have writer, then we are in the type, we are linking it to the writer RAML. The same thing for the comments. We have the comments and then items, and we are including the comment.raml. This is an array, right? Yeah, this is an array. Okay. So that is how I decided to create it. You can do whatever you want with that. Then I created some traits because I noticed that all of the responses will have 400 and 500. So I created a trait called common error responses. And these are the two, just 400, 500, and the body is going to be error. And that's it. And actually, I can put this here. You can put this here. Yeah. And basically, in all of the resources, you can just go and say is common responses, and then all of everything that is going to be here is going to have the same common responses. I could have also clicked on new file and trait and put it there. That also works. But I had a little bit of trouble doing that for some reason, so I decided to just put it here directly. But you can also just put it in another file if you want to make this even better. You can also create, as you saw, new file. You can create, where is it? Examples. For example, you can create user documentation. You can create a lot of different things to make this RAML easier to follow. I thought this was pretty good. We have the articles, we have get, post, and then articles ID. We have the URI parameters, get, put, delete, and so on. I removed all of the descriptions as well because I just wanted this to be easier to read, but you can also leave all of the descriptions. If you don't know RAML, I would advise you to learn it first if you want to kind of do this, something like this, because there are so many different ways to make your RAML easier. So I decided to leave it like this, but it's up to you if you want to just keep extracting pieces of the specification into different files. Because at one point, like if you have a huge project, this RAML, if you put everything in this RAML, then this RAML would be like, we have right now 160 lines. So imagine like you can end up with 5,000 lines or something like that if this is like too complex. So it's better to put everything here in files and folders to make it easier to read the main RAML. But in this case, I thought it was not that bad. I can clearly see where the traits. I decided to extract the types, but other than that, like, I think that looks pretty good for me. Again, you can do whatever you want. And then the other change that I decided to do on the design was, as I told you, we have articles, and inside articles ID, we have comments. Because I didn't want to have just comments, like a resource for comments, because all of my, at the end of the day, all of my comments are inside the article data type. So what's gonna happen here is that I'm gonna have to do articles and then one, for example, and then comments. And this is gonna return all of my comments because it's first gonna extract the article ID and then it's gonna send me the comments. Same thing here. If I want to see like just one single comment, I decided to do articles ID, comments, and then ID of the comment. But you can decide to manage this differently if you want. I think in categories, I created a query parameter in the get. So if I go to /categories, I will be able to see all of the categories that have been created. But if I send a query parameter called category name, I hope you can see it, type of string, then I will get just the categories that match this category name. So this is a change that I decided to do. Instead of doing /categories /category name, I'm just doing /categories and I can just send a query parameter. So you can do the same with the comments if you wanted to do that, to just do articles ID and then send a query parameter that is like comments or comment ID or something like that, and it will return that. You can also filter it. Normally the query parameters are used to filter things, but you can use it however you want. You can also send headers if you want. Remember, the only difference between using query parameters and headers is that the query parameter is on the URI, like you can visually see the query parameters in the actual URI that you send, and the headers are not visible from the URI. You have to kind of go inside the request or the response to see them. The only thing that I would advise you is that all of the responses should have at least a 200 response. It can be 200, 201, 202, whatever, but that starts with 2. That it has a 400 response, whichever you want, just that it's a 400 and something, because it means that there was an error from the client side, and the 500, which is an error from the server side. Those are the only 3 responses that I would advise you to always have. Outside of that, all of the things that you want to do, you'll notice that I just have post and put, but I don't have patch. I just decided to do it that way. I decided not to use patch, but you can also use patch if you want to. And that's it. All of them have get. The delete, I decided to use it only on the singular resources. So like I can only delete one article at a time, one comment at a time, one writer at a time, but I cannot delete all of the writers, all of the comments, and so on. So far, this is my design. You can decide to take that or do your own, whatever you prefer. If you want to take mine, you will find it in sessions 3 and then homework spec. So the in-session spec is the one that we did during the last live stream. The homework spec is what I just did. Go here and click on try it. You will be able to send the query parameters if you have any headers or anything you want to send. This is just a get. I'm not sending anything, so I can just click on send and it will return me an example like 200. Okay, everything went right. And this is how your response is gonna look like. If I wanted to try, for example, the categories. Let's see categories, because we had a query parameter there. If I click on try it, I can just not send any query parameters. Oh, I made it required. Well, that's wrong. That shouldn't be required. Hold on. If I check this again, try it. Yeah, okay. Now this is not required. So I'm not gonna send it. Send. Okay. I didn't get anything back for some reason. Huh. I should have gotten, well, I got a 200, okay, string. Oh, maybe I don't have any examples. Oh yeah, I don't have any examples. Okay, so I can add an example. We have example here that you can send, but I'm not gonna send it. If I click on send, I receive a 200, okay, and I receive an array of strings. That's what I wanted with the different categories that we have. Yeah, I like the design of my API. I can also try how it's gonna look like if I go to comments, get. Oh, I think I have to have different IDs. Well, it's nice that we're trying it out. So articles ID is gonna be that, and then comments, and let's change this to comment ID. Oops. Comment ID, URI parameters, comment ID. Okay, so now, yeah, articles ID, comments, comment ID. I'm gonna change everything so it matches. Articles, article ID, here and here. And then writers. Writer ID, here and here. Okay. So now articles, article ID, comments, comment ID. If we go to the get, click on try it. Now we have the different URI parameters. So article ID 1, comment ID 1, comments. Ah, here's why. Comment. Comment, comment. Copy pasting. And then comment ID, comment, comment, comment. Well, and that is why it's good to check everything. So comments, get, try it, article ID 1, send. Now we receive the list of comments. And if I go to comment ID, get, try it, article ID, comment ID, send. And now we receive just one comment. Okay. All right. I'm glad that I checked this before continuing. That would have been awful. All right. So we have this. It's all good. We tested it. It works. Now we can publish it. So click on publish. Preparing to publish. Asset version 100. API version v1. Let's do stable because we want to be able to use it. if we do development, I think we won't be able to use it. So let's do that. Let's leave it in disable. Publish. All right, so this is done. Close. There's that. And then we have it in Exchange, so we can go to Exchange now and see that it is actually there. Yes, Maxine's blog API. And then if we go to summary here, we will be able to see everything that I just showed you, all of the specification. And then on the endpoints, we can do the same thing that we just did. But this is, I think this is better, like visually speaking. I feel like this is better to see than the one we have in Design Center. So yeah, you can just check this everything. You can also use this part here to test it out, just as we did before. You can add query parameters if you want. You can click on send and you will receive the 200 OK and how this response would look like. So you can also try it out there if you want. And that's it. We have it on Exchange, which means that we can start designing it on Studio. So if you're new to the whole thing, MuleSoft.com/studio, you can also do that. And you will get to this part and you can just download it. Docs, Anypoint Studio. There. So here's the overview. Here's the release notes. Download and install. So here are also for Windows, Linux, and Mac. I'm gonna do create a new Mule project, I think it was. Project name, what was the name? Maxine's blog API. So Maxine blog. Maxine blog. Maxine's blog. Okay. I just put it as Maxine's blog. And then here we have the, let me zoom in, API implementation. So here you can see that it says add an API implementation to your project to automatically set up an API key router and create placeholder flows for each resource method. So that's what we want to do. This basically means, basing on the API specification that you have, I'm just gonna create the basic structure for your project so you don't have to, which is awesome. So scaffold flows from this API specification. Yes, that's what we want. Import a published API. Import RAML from local files. So even if you don't put it in Exchange, you can also just put it here. Or download the RAML from Design Center. So go to Design Center, you download it, and you put it here. No, it puts it there for you, I think. Anyway, we're just gonna do import a published API because we want to be able to use the one that we have in Exchange, because we are assuming that it's done, right? So we're gonna select that, import a published API, and then plus, from Exchange or from Maven. Let's select from Exchange. And now we can search for it here. Maxine's blog. Yeah. Maxine's blog API. This is the one that I created. Publisher is Twitch because that's the organization that I created. Click on add. Now you have it here in selected modules. And you can now click on finish. So we have this, and now this is the beautiful, beautiful thing. Maxine's blog API, we have the API key router. This is the beautiful, beautiful thing about MuleSoft. API key router is basically, it gets the request here, and then based on the URI or the path that it receives, it automatically sends to the corresponding flow, so you don't have to do that. And it already creates, oh, I think I can zoom in here. Yay. And how can I, there. It already creates like the flows, the error handling flows for you. So for example, if there's a bad request, it's gonna automatically send this. You don't even have to create any implementation at all to send the bad request. Like if there's a bad request, it's gonna be here. If there's a not found, it's gonna be here. If there's a method not allowed, not acceptable, unsupported media type, not implemented, they already have the error messages for all of that. And then here you have the full like flows for everything. Here you have the put. Here at the beginning you can see put, and then we have articles, article ID, and this is what you're gonna like. You can just change this to go to the desired flows. If we go down, we have put, articles, article ID, comments, comment ID, and so on. Right click on the canvas here and click on run project. This will start running it locally. And then you can run it in the terminal or in Postman or whatever you prefer. In my case, I'm gonna do terminal. So here's my terminal. If I do curl localhost 8081, we'll be able to run this. Okay, this is running. Now let's run localhost 8081. Oh, sorry. Let's do slash articles. No, slash v1. It probably added there. Okay, see here path. It says slash API slash asterisk. So this is the path that we're gonna have to use before sending the request. So localhost 8081 slash API slash articles. It didn't return anything. I guess it only has like a logger or something. Yeah, it just has a logger. It doesn't have anything here. So it did log something. If I click on word grab right here, it will show me everything in one line. No, in different lines. So it did run something here. So if I run it again, you will see that a new line is going to be added there. There you go. And if I keep running it, new lines are going to be added because it's logging something. All right. I hope you liked that. And I will see you on the next video. Remember to follow me on Twitch or subscribe in YouTube if you're watching the recorded version from YouTube. All right. I'll see you on the next session then. Bye.